Everyone involved was very passionate and excited and in it for the love of it, which I think allowed us to be able to pull it off, considering that kind of everything was against us.
When I look back on my experience working on Deadstream, there were things about it that were difficult and grueling, but there was also something really rewarding knowing that we were working on something special, and that's an experience I'll never forget. I grew up watching anything that had good practical effects, creature
And was planned in the script just because we all had a blast with him.
The script presented several challenges that I thought would be fun to try and tackle. There's a couple things in there that I'd never done before, exploding a head the way that we did in the water, the dynamic of having it sopping wet and being able to do multiple takes. There were a couple things in there that I thought opened up opportunity for gags, like the extended finger was something that wasn't in the script. It was a finger in the script. It had to be glued together, but it was sopping wet, and glue doesn't stick to anything wet. So that was one of the major challenges, and getting that pulled off in one night was definitely difficult.
Filming with GoPros was kind of crazy. Our monitor situation were a bunch of iPads. I'm used to having a monitor that shows me exactly what the camera is seeing, and I can look at every little detail that I need to touch up and what's happening with the makeup. And that was a big challenge with the GoPro stream to the iPad. It would be glitching a ton or behind, or it would black out, and we just kind of got an idea.
Get us the shots that we needed. And then afterwards he had a huge smile on his face and he was really proud of what he'd done and was excited to tell his friends about it.
One of the biggest challenges for prosthetic makeup specifically is with the hot temperature, and there were some days where we didn't have a cool trailer to go to, or we didn't have time for that. So maintaining prosthetics in the heat as they're just being sweat off was a very big challenge, especially with all of the action and specifically like the wrestling.
That the original intention was to dig a hole, build a box for the puppeteer, myself, to fit inside to be able to articulate that. Just so happened to have enough of a divot that I could lay in, and then we covered myself with a camouflage blanket and just leaves. So I'm actually laying on the ground, but you can't tell in the shot that I'm literally just laying right there. So in that position, it was really hard to get the face to actually look at the hold the camera to make it look as though Sean was following the blade. I was inside the costume puppeteering that head. Man, it was a ton of difficult choreography to get all those pieces to work together at exactly the right moment, and we only had 3 attempts to be able to do it right. But we were able to get it on our second try. So thankfully it worked.
Collaborating with Troy, having his department with all of the puppets and all the creature effects that he did, there was a point where what I did met what he did. For example, some of the early looks of Melanie and her corpse looks, she develops throughout the film to get more and more grotesque. And at the beginning, there were makeups that I designed and did on her that then had to start transitioning into the look of the final puppeted version of Mel that Troy created. And there are some prosthetics that he sculpted that matched and grew towards that puppeted version that then I applied and painted to match the paint that he did on the puppet. So there's definitely a lot of that collaboration, so it looked consistent and made sense story-wise. Another fun collaboration with Troy and those gross, awesome teeth that he made for Mildred and Melanie when she gets that duct tape ripped off. I had this stretchy, black, gross slime that kind of went with the colors and tones that we had in mind, and I thought it would be fun to add that to the duct tape. So that stringy, nasty slime that you see with the teeth and with the axe as well was a fun little add.
Some fun facts about some of the goos and slimes that we used. Some of it was movie blood. Some of the other goos were